welcome to the Four Heroes podcast. My name is Bonnie Douglas, and I'm the Director of Operations for Four Heroes. Today's episode is about a very special and redemptive place, the Four Heroes Thrift Store. I sat down with Chaplain Frank Mercer and his wonderful wife, Pam, who runs the thrift store, to discuss how God has used the store to help fund Four Heroes ministry to first responders, offer hope and help to people in need, and provide a place to build relationships and find community. There are meaningful messages woven throughout the entire story of the Four Heroes Thrift Store, and we are so excited to share it with you.
Hi, this is Frank Mercer, Executive Director and Senior Public Safety Chaplain with Four Heroes. I'm excited about today's episode. I'm sitting here at the table with Bonnie Douglas, our Director of Operations, and the most beautiful woman in the world, my wife, Pam Mercer, who also is the manager of the Four Heroes Thrift Store. We're excited to talk to you about the thrift store today.
Yeah, Pam, we're so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you run the Four Heroes Thrift Store. Some of our listeners may not know that we even have a thrift store associated with Four Heroes. Obviously, we want to share what the Four Heroes Thrift Store is and why it's so important to our ministry to first responders. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I can. It's an awesome place. Our customers love to come in. Even if they don't buy anything, they just like to shop and look around. Enjoy the music, and they like to talk, and which is awesome. And I feel like as far as donating the money to the nonprofit, which is awesome, the money goes to the nonprofit, I feel like the backside of that is just the people interaction, because not only do I get to interact with them, but they get to interact with each other, and they start talking. They'll sit on the couch and they'll just chat. And it's so much fun, and we just get the best donations, and we just try to keep it a super chill and happy place.
That's awesome. I did not know that, the playlist was an important part of this. So what kind of music do you have playing in the thrift store? Oh my gosh.
The day we found out that we were actually getting the thrift store, I started on the playlist. And so it had to be fun songs, 80s songs, of course, because that is my era. So we had to do the 80s songs. We also have 60s. We've got some for like Frank Sinatra from the 30s and 40s and 50s.
That's awesome.
So a little bit of everything, and some worship music too. I get complimented on that all the time. The playlist is awesome. And I'm like, thank you. I worked hard on it.
That's so good.
I love it.
Yeah, the fact that the thrift store exists is a God story. I know both of you love sharing how all of this came about. So do you want to share some of that incredible story with our listeners? How did all of this happen?
Well, I, at the time, was working at the real life store in Fayetteville. Loved that job, loved the people. I feel like that's where I kind of came out of my shell as far as dealing with customers, because I'm an introvert. The line would get busy at the real life store. I would go to the bathroom. It's like, this is too much. I can't handle it, so I just take off to the back. But slowly I got used to it. I got better at it, and I got used to talking to customers, and I loved it. And so when they closed the stores, I was devastated, and I thought I've lost my favorite job.
Yeah.
And I was sad, but I didn't know this was waiting for us. So we took over the Tyrone real life store, and it was funny because I mentioned to my dear sweet husband, I said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could take over the thrift store? And he said, oh, yeah, that'd be great. With the silent eye roll, which he claims he doesn't have, but I know he does.
All right, there it is.
So he said, oh, yeah, that'd be great. Now, so I just was like, okay, we'll drop it. And so he had coffee with the awesome Pete Nelms. And Pete Nelms, after he told him the story, said, you have to take that thrift store. And Frank came home and told me he had chills. And I was like, chills? Wait a minute. I just said that. So anyway, that is how it came about. So we were able to get the money to take it over, and with the help from Rolling Hills Baptist Church, which was awesome.
Yes.
Never saw this coming out. If somebody had told me 10 years ago, you're going to own your own thrift store one day, I would have said, no, not going to do it. But here I am. And it's like, if I can't be home, I'd rather be here. This is just my favorite place. We've got great customers, super volunteers, and I think it's needed in the community. Not just so people can come buy things at a lesser cost. But just the daily interaction. We have customers that will come in literally every single day.
Yeah.
And they just like to talk. And I'm good with that. 100% good with that.
There's a whole community of regulars who come in here and, like she said, they sit on the couch and they just chat it up. That level of community, I think, is a really special thing. If I may interject.
Of course you may interject.
She's absolutely right when she says that she mentioned this, and there was certainly at least an internal eye roll. We've been together a long time, and she's very perceptive about those things. And Pete Nelms is a retired assistant chief for Fayette County Fire and EMS. He was instrumental in my becoming a chaplain there. And he checks in with me from time to time. He's got a great head for this kind of thing. And she'd already mentioned it. I had kind of dismissed it. He mentioned it to me. And I don't know, it was like I had selective memory loss, and I didn't even remember the detail that she had already mentioned this, and I sort of said no. And so it was like he said it, and it was like, boom, oh, wow, what a great idea. And then I came home and I told her, and yeah, she was like, we've had this conversation. How do you get chills when Pete Nelms says something to you, but you don't get chills because I say something to you? It's a fair question. But the second part of it is just absolutely huge. We needed a specific amount of money to get started here. We needed money to pay first month's rent. We needed money to buy inventory. We had things to purchase from the real life store as far as racks and mannequins and display items. It's a lot. We felt that to step into it, we needed $30,000 to start, which is not like saying we needed $30 gazillion to start, but it felt like $30 gazillion dollars. It felt like a lot. We didn't have it laying around. And I was talking to Dave Levy, who was our missions coordinator at the church, about the possibility of the thrift store, and his eyes just lit up. And I said, well, the thing is, I mean, we need $30,000. We don't have $30,000 unless God provides. I don't see how this can happen. So he rolled out this idea that he and I go to the elders of the church and just make a proposal. Would you guys be willing to loan our ministry $30,000 that we would pay back over time? Here's what we could accomplish with it. So he said, I will advocate for that if you will come and propose it at our next meeting.
Yeah.
And I said, absolutely. And so I put together a proposal. I came into the meeting. I shared it with everybody. And then, I was recused from the rest of the meeting so that they could discuss it. And I drove home. And when I pulled into the driveway at our house, Brian, who was our lead elder, called me. And he said, I wanted to let you know how our discussion about the thrift store went. And I said, okay, hit me with it. And he said, we talked about it at length, and we've decided that we don't want to loan you the money. And that hit really hard. I tried to put on a brave face and just say, you know what? If God intends for us to have the thrift store, he will make a way. And Brian started laughing, and he said, you didn't let me finish. They don't want to loan you the money. They want to give you the money.
Wow.
Rolling Hills was giving us about $500 a month of support. And he said, this will put us ahead 6 years.
Yeah.
We're just going to give you $30,000. You guys take that thrift store and let's see what God does. So it was absolutely, completely a God thing that the door opened for us to be able to do this. And the thrift store provides about 50% of the resource to make the ministry go, and sometimes more than that. It's essential to what we do. So, one of the ways that people can really support the ministry that we have to first responders is to donate, is to look for opportunities to serve, is to come in and buy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a help.
Yeah, for sure.
It absolutely. It makes such a difference. So yeah, it's just an avenue that God has provided. He put this thing into Pam with the previous thrift store experience. I remember Kathy Bergeron from the Real Life Store, who was the founder of that great organization, the executive director for years. Kathy said, people come into the thrift store just to talk to your wife. They come in because they love Pam. And I certainly get that. I understand.
Yeah, I understand too. I tell you, Frank, on a regular basis that this lady right here, Pam, is one of my favorite human beings on the face of the planet. She's just a bright person. So it does not surprise me that people come in to spend time with you. But that is amazing that God led Rolling Hills to make that investment and to believe in this ministry. We mentioned the thrift store's contributions to Four Heroes ministry to the public safety community. Are there any stories, like any moments that motivate you or remind you why you're doing this every day?
There are. I mean, there's so many. I don't even know. There's not enough time in a day to even go through all the stories. But just this past week, there is a lady who comes in regularly, and you have no idea what people are going through when they come in the door.
Yeah.
She's looking for furniture, but she wants to buy this chair that was 80% off, and it was going to be $15. She said, I don't have the money for it today, but I'm going to come Wednesday and get it. I said, well, that's awesome. That works. I'll put a sold sign on it. It's yours. Come to find out, she is leaving a horrible marriage, and she needs to set up a household in an apartment. You know, you hear stories like that, and I didn't know she was going through this. I had no idea. She said she'd been married 14 years, and it's just been bad. So we had some bed rails. Bed rails are hard because they're hard to display. I'm always scared they're going to fall over. They're heavy.
Yeah.
And so I had some outside on the sidewalk. I said, you know what? I've got these bed rails. If you want them, they're yours. And she said, thank you so much. And I said, if there's anything else you need, just give me a list, and I will be more than happy to do whatever I can to help you get into this apartment because you need a safe space. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, I'm going to go out to my car, and I'm going to cry, and then I'm going to come back in. And I said, no, you don't have to cry. Don't worry. I would love to help. And so stories like that are awesome. Fun stories. I have been able to meet, like, my grandmother's friends, which is so funny because my grandmother passed away in 94, and this little lady comes in, she comes in once a month, and she buys, like, hundreds of books. I mean, just hundreds of books. I don't know what she does with them. I have no idea. But it's amazing the amount of things that she buys. She will fill up a buggy. She'll bring it to the front. We'll take everything out. She'll fill it up again. Like 3 or 4 times she does this. And come to find out, she is my grandmother's best friend's daughter. And so we're talking about East Point. I remember hearing her mom's name the entire time I was growing up. My grandmother would talk about this lady all the time. And now her daughter, who is in her 80s, is shopping in my thrift store.
Yeah.
And that is so awesome. Just funny things like that happen, I feel like, all the time. I've been able to see people I went to high school with, which is also fun. But the best part, I think, is just the people who are lonely. They come in and they talk. There's not enough money in the world to replace that. That's just a big, big deal to so many people. And I feel like I don't say anything special to them. I think it's just that I listen. And our other volunteers are the same way. We've got a couple others that will just sit there and listen. And when I say that people will take a chair and sit on a couch and chat with other customers, I am honest about that.
Yeah.
They will sit there for 30 plus minutes and they'll just talk. And I don't care. I let them sit there all day. I don't care.
Yeah.
I think it's so important for the people who live by themselves. They need an outlet. And if coming here and shopping and looking around and just talking is their outlet, then that's awesome because they're in a good spot. They're in a safe spot. They're in an encouraging spot. And that's what we want to be.
Yeah, this is a special place.
It is a special place, and there is incredible ministry that happens here. I think a thrift store is a redemptive place.
Yeah.
People are bringing things they no longer want or need. Some of it's something left from a family member that is no longer there. She has wedding dresses come in. She's had an engagement ring come in. shoes, so many shoes, things that have hung on the walls of people's homes for years, and they wind up here. It's a redemptive place because those things are given value again. Somebody comes in and sees it, and what was somebody else's trash becomes somebody else's treasure. Mm-hmm. And to me, looking through a pastor's eyes, the people who come through these doors are not unlike that. All of us need to be redeemed, and they're coming to a place where redemption happens. They're coming into a place where they're going to be loved and cared for, and they're going to be shown Jesus. Just like everything that's for sale here is redeemed. Man, it's our prayer that those customers, those volunteers, that everybody who's involved with this thrift store could be redeemed as well, could know Jesus the way that we know Jesus, could experience his love, his grace, his mercy, his kindness, his compassion. That they may come in feeling like they've been disposed of, like this woman that she just talked about, who this part of her life has come to an end, and she's starting over. Man, to see that starting over is a real possibility, and that we get to help with that is just, to me, a beautiful thing, and just another shade of God's provision, his mercy, and his presence here with us.
That's very true. And my goal, when it comes down to bare bones, my goal for the store is, if you come in and you're having a bad day, you're having a wretched day, you're having the kind of day that you never dreamed you'd have, you come in here, you hang out, you look at the stuff, you talk to people, you listen to the great music, and I want you to leave happier than what you came in.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's so many bad things happening in this world in this day and time, and I feel like we all need that. We all have those days where it feels like nothing's going right, and I just need to disconnect from my situation. I need to go out and just kill some time. If that's you, come to Four Heroes. Even if you don't buy anything, you're going to leave in a better spot, or at least with a better attitude than when you came in, because sometimes that's all you need. You just need something that's uplifting.
Yeah,
and I feel like our store,
place.
that is my goal. And everybody who walks through the door, we make sure they're spoken to. Doesn't matter. We get all walks of life. I don't care. I don't care what your life is. I don't care what you do in your off time. I don't care. Come in this door, and we're going to be thrilled to see you. And that's very important.
Yeah, it's so good.
I have been in church my entire life. From 9 months before I was born, I was coming to church. I know and understand churches. I was a pastor for decades before stepping into this role. The thrift store is not a substitute for church. I want to be careful to say that. But I will say this. There is more kindness and compassion shown in this little thrift store. More hope offered in this little thrift store. More community available in this little thrift store than in a lot of churches that I've been to. It's all telling the story. It's telling the story of Jesus.
Yeah, so good. And just that idea of redemption kind of being pictured here, that you see that in so many ways. One of the things I think about is hearing that there have been moments where there were structure fires, and families who had lost everything were able to come and get some things that they need, and that's another connection to the public safety community. Right. But it's exciting. Like, this place is special on its own, but also when you connect it to what it funds,
exactly,
that just adds to how incredibly special this place is. One of the things I'm asked consistently is what people can do to get involved with the thrift store, because it is such a special place. So what are some of the biggest needs you have? What are some of the most helpful donations? Like, how would you say for people to get involved?
Well, of course, a big thing is to shop with us.
Please shop.
That's huge. The donations that we need are always clothes, ladies' clothes especially, because we go through those like really fast. Shoes, kids' clothes, purses, accessories. Furniture, if we have space, that is our big issue, is we are bursting at the seams, which is a very, very good problem to have. But we don't always have space for like a couch. Somebody had called about a sectional. They had a sectional that they wanted to donate. And I said, oh, I hate to tell you this, but we do not have the room. I'm so sorry. And I hate to tell people no, but there are some times that we just do not have the room. Kitchen appliances, like small countertop appliances, we take those. Books, house decorations, housewares, blankets, just a little bit of everything.
Toys,
yeah,
DVDs,
little toys, DVDs.
CDs,
Yeah, we sell DVDs and CDs for 50 cents each, y'all. So bring them and come back and buy them. We have one customer. I adore her. She's the sweetest little lady. She comes in once a week, sometimes twice a week, and she buys nothing but DVDs. And then when she's finished with them, she brings them back, and she buys a whole nother load.
Okay.
And that's awesome. I love that. I love
They've
that.
become her blockbuster.
Yes, exactly.
Well, yeah.
The housewares, I'm looking around at just lamps and pictures and there's so many things, and I understand what she's saying about space, but if you think you have something that may be too large for the store, before you totally dismiss the idea, ask.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
We might have space.
Please. But if we can ever get to a point where we have more storage space in the back, which right now is not possible, then the time may come where we can take stuff like that and we can keep it until we do have room. But right now it's harder. But yeah, anything you want to donate, just bring it on and we'll take it. We'll take it. And we take donations any day we're open, which is Wednesday through Friday 10 to 6 and Saturday 10 to 4.
Great. Yeah. So how can people spread the word and help support the thrift store? I know you have an incredible presence on Facebook, and that is a great way for people to connect with you. How else can people connect with the thrift store? And what would you want them to say when they tell other people about it?
I want them to tell their friends and family and students and teachers and everybody that we have this awesome thrift store in Tyrone. And it's not too far away from Fayetteville. I hear all the time, oh, I live in Fayetteville. It's just so far away. It's not. It's 10 minutes.
Far.
It's not far at all. It's not far at all. And it's worth it. It's totally worth
it.
it.
It's Fairburn and Peachtree City.
And Noonan. I live in Noonan, and I tell people about it because it's like I'm in downtown Noonan, and it's still only like 25 minutes, most of the time.
Exactly.
It's about a 25-minute drive. Not bad.
Just in case you're not familiar with Tyrone, we are sitting in a little shopping center with 3 stores, Elliott's and a florist shop on the other side. Cacao Coffee Shop is right here in our parking lot, and across the street, we're across the street from Partners and Spazano's. We're not hard to find. We're just a little bit south of the four-way stop at Tyrone Road and Sonoa Road.
Yeah, not a paid sponsorship, but they have a great lunch menu at Partners Pizza. You could come and have lunch at Partners and come across the street to the thrift store.
And Spazano's are the best sandwiches in Tyrone.
Exactly.
Well, like I said, the Facebook page for the thrift store is awesome. And
Thank you.
You post some of what you've gotten in.
Exactly.
Like you actually share pictures of it.
Yes.
And you respond very fast to people who are like, hey, can you hold that
try
for me?
to.
And
Yes.
and have questions. So that's one of the things that I've been really impressed with is how active the Facebook page is and how you are very communicative. Also, the address, like the Four Heroes Thrift Store, is something you can search on Google and on maps, and so it's easy to find. We do hope that you'll spread the word and look on social media, but I love what you do on Facebook with the pictures and just being so communicative with people. Like, it's just a really lively page with a lot of people sharing and asking questions.
Yes.
Four Heroes is not the only thrift store around, but I think there are some things that make it a very special place. So anything that you want to share as we close about what makes the Four Heroes Thrift Store a sweet and unique place to shop, serve, and donate? I know we've said a lot, but is there anything that y'all want to add about that?
Well, we do get awesome donations. I cannot even believe some of the stuff that people have been giving us. And I know that sometimes people just want to get rid of stuff. Other times, like Frank had said earlier, it's a hard decision because it's from a loved one that has passed away, or somebody's having to downsize for maybe sad reasons. We just get great donations. We get super, super good donations. We get name brand stuff. We get lots of kitchen stuff. Like if you don't want to spend an arm and a leg on a set of dishes, come see us because we probably have a set of dishes. In fact, we probably have more than one set of dishes. We have Christmas. We have Christmas stuff out already because we started Christmas in July, and we're just going to kind of let it keep going in August, and we're going to kind of let it keep going in September and October and November and December. So if you are starting to look for Christmas or fall things, we have it. So just come on down, and we can show you around the store.
I went to the real-life thrift store for the very first time after she'd started working there. And I walked in, and the manager didn't know me, which I always enjoy. And I said, hey, I was in here the other day, and this woman helped me. The most gorgeous woman I've ever seen. I think her name's Pam.
Oh, my word.
Is she working today?
This is the direction we're going.
And she said, oh, my gosh, well, she's married.
That's hilarious.
And I said, yes, I do know that. She's married to me. I just feel so blessed. I mean, all those years that she was a pastor's wife and I was a pastor, we were in ministry together, but it never felt as close of a partnership as this is. I can't wait to hear her stories every day, and she looks forward to hearing mine, and we know that we're working together, serving Jesus by serving others and pushing the kingdom of God forward every day. And I love that. I love that. Come to the thrift store.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Pam, for what you do.
Absolutely.
And for joining us on the podcast today. We love doing episodes like this.
Absolutely.
And so it's just been a huge blessing to have you here and to hear about the thrift store and some of the stories and the origin of it and just all that God has done and is doing through your ministry here. It really is a ministry. Also, like Frank said, just the fact that it helps to fund his ministry, the stories that he's experiencing, spending time with first responders, those things are very much linked. And so thank you both for your ministry.
Of course.
And, we just appreciate hearing about it today. I know it's a blessing for our listeners.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Thank you for listening to the Four Heroes podcast. Isn't Pam a gem? God has used the thrift store to bless so many people. It's an amazing place to shop, serve, and donate. One of the easiest ways to support it is to come and visit and tell others to come and shop as well. You can share this podcast episode, the Facebook page, or the thrift store page on the Four Heroes website, which is 4ourheroes.org. That's the number 4ourheroes.org, and click on Thrift Store. We hope to see you there.